So today I'm going to talk about the importance of statistics in organ donation and transplantation. So to kind of introduce us, NHS Blood and Transplant is a special health authority and provide a wide range of services to the NHS. So our responsibilities include optimising the safety and supply of blood products, organs and tissues. So within that, coordinating transplant activity and maintaining the transplant waiting list and also the UK Transplant Registry, which is the big database which holds all the information collected on donors, transplants and recipients. We also encourage the donation of organs, blood and tissues, and also within this manage the organ donor register, help to raise the quality, effectiveness and clinical outcomes of blood and transplant services, and finally provide advice and support to health services in the UK but also other countries. So this graph here shows the current waiting list and transplant activity in the UK over the last 10 years. So the blue bars down the bottom are the number of deceased donors, the grey bars are the number of transplants that have happened, and the line at the top is the transplant waiting list. So even though you can see that the number of deceased donors and the number of transplants has been rising, and the transplant list has been falling, there still is a big gap between the waiting list and the number of transplants that happen. And actually, if we look at some numbers, we can see that there are a significant number of transplants that do happen. So there are 24 kidney transplant centres in the UK, and last year there was about 3,300 kidney transplants that happened. For liver, there are 7 centres and about 1,000 transplants happened last year. And for the other organs, you can see that it's slightly less than that. And transplantation is very successful and it's highly effective, and it is the treatment choice for many conditions. So you can see here, this is the patient survival rate. And for a kidney transplant, it's well above 95%. And even actually, if you have a kidney from a living donor, even at 5 years, it's still well above 90%, so it's a really successful treatment. So the department in which I work is Statistics and Clinical Studies, and what do we do? So we provide a comprehensive statistical service to the UK transplant community. So this includes requests for information from the media, public, senior managers, sometimes even members of the public. We help monitor the organ allocation schemes and also hospital performance. We produce annual reports for the Department of Health, but also the general public, for the general public's use. And quite a large portion of our work is projects, so providing evidence to drive change and improve patient care. Alongside the transplant work, we also undertake a large amount of project work in transfusion medicine and stem cell transplantation. And within our unit is a clinical trials unit, and so we undertake trials in transfusion medicine and transplantation. We're directed by Professor Dave Collett, and all the statisticians are based in Bristol. Our total headcount at the moment is 26 statisticians, which I think is quite unusual for a group like we are, and 14 clinical trial staff. So how do we undertake our work? We collaborate a lot with medical professionals. We primarily program in SAS to interrogate the databases that we use, but sometimes we also do use SQL and R. We use a range of statistical techniques and methodologies, so mostly survival analysis, Cox regression modelling, competing risks, but also we sometimes do use logistic regression. Obviously, we have to perform sample size calculations, and lots of other statistical methodology comes into our work. Obviously, to be able to then feedback our work, we do end up writing a fair few amount of reports as well, but we communicate our results through emails, meetings, presentations, and also through journal articles, and these are some of the journals that we've published in. So my role specifically, originally when I started working for NHS I supported the statistical inquiries section, so it was answering ad hoc queries and producing regular reports. From there, I then moved on to supporting work in kidney transplantation. So I was helping monitor the kidney allocation scheme to ensure it was fair and equitable, and also monitoring kidney transplant outcomes. I supported the paediatric subgroup of the kidney advisory group, so a group that were focused primarily just on looking at kidney transplants in paediatric patients. And I also did a fair amount of work on a new technique, and quite novel technique, called antibody incompatible transplantation. Now, primarily, my role is in clinical trials. So I'm a clinical trial statistician for several trials in blood, transfusion medicine and transplantation. So I have to advise on statistical matters, perform interim analyses, obviously write the statistical analysis plan, what analysis you're going to do at the end of the trial, and also produce biannual reports for the data monitoring committee, who basically supervise and monitor safety throughout the trial. But also alongside this, you also have to, I support grant applications and produce sample size calculations for future trials that are coming up. So now I'm going to talk about 3 examples of our work. So the first one here is donor smoking. So the background to this was that smoking is prevalent in the general population, about 20%. However, 39% of lung donors do have a history of smoking. And even though lungs are carefully examined by experienced surgeons before they are transplanted, a couple of years ago there were some media concerns that actually recipients were being transplanted with these smokeless lungs and it was causing them to die early or get lung cancer, for example. So what we did was we looked at data over a quite significant time period, and basically what we showed was that, yes, you do have poorer survival if the donor did have a history of smoking, as shown by the red line. However, we then went on to look at, we then went on to find that actually your risk of death waiting for a lung from a non-smoking donor was a lot greater than the risk of death than if you accepted the lung from that smoking donor. So you're better to accept the smoking donor lung than wait for a non-smoking lung to come up. And this was a highly significant, and obviously now patients can make an informed choice that actually, yeah, they should accept them smoking lungs if they are offered them. And these results were published in The Lancet. The second example I'm going to talk about is the relative chance of transplant tool. So it was raised at a kidney transplant patient representative meeting that there was a significant lack of information on waiting times to kidney transplantation, which often makes it difficult for patients to manage their lives. How long are they going to be waiting to receive this organ? So the current median waiting time for a paediatric is about a year, but who is the average patient? So what we did was we looked at what factors influence waiting time to kidney transplantation for a paediatric patient. So we used data on just over 600 patients who were registered for a kidney transplant, and then we split it into 2/3 for building our model and 1/3 for validating our model to see how good actually our model was. So 5 factors were found to significantly influence waiting time for a paediatric, and included within that were an improved chance of transplant was associated with white patients, old patients, and obviously some other clinical variables. We wanted to see, after building this model, well, how predictive is it, and is it actually any good? So the going in the statistic was actually quite high, and what we did using our validation data set was we plotted what actually happened against what our model predicted. And you can see here, we split it into 4 groups, and you can see it tracks it very well, so we knew our model was pretty good. But how do you make all these complex statistical models into something that actually the clinicians use? So what we came up with was this tool which was created in Excel. So it could be used in the clinical setting, and what the clinician does is put in the factors for the patient on the left-hand side. So what variables match for that patient, and then it populates the graph on the right-hand side, showing what's the chance of that patient being transplanted within 3, 6, 12, 18 or 24 months. So you can see here, this is a fairly good patient, 50% chance of being transplanted within 3 months. However, if you vary the factors slightly, you can see this patient's chance of transplant are actually significantly reduced. But this will then help to guide clinical decisions and actually allow the clinician to actually consider other options for the patient. And encouragingly, this tool is now being widely used in clinical practice throughout the UK. And the final example I'm going to talk about is the EDMP DCD kidney clinical trial, which I've been involved in for the last couple of years now. So this is a randomised control trial looking at a technique called ex vivo normothermic perfusion. So I've just got a kind of diagram here to kind of explain what happened. So you have your donor, deceased donor, they donate their kidneys. The kidneys get packaged up into ice, and then once they've been allocated to a recipient, they get shipped off to the recipient hospital. Now what currently happens is the kidneys will stay in that cold box of ice until they're ready to be transplanted into the recipient. However, there's this new technique, and sorry for anyone who's squeamish and doesn't like a graphic picture, There's this new technique called EVMP, which will basically flush the kidney with oxygenated blood. And early studies have shown that this actually regenerates the kidney and leads to better outcomes in the recipient. So our clinical trial is basically randomising to cold storage or to the EVMP machine. So it's a trial that's funded by Kidney Research UK and actually is a collaboration between the University of Cambridge and NHS Blood and Transplant. Our primary outcome for the study is looking at delayed graft function, so that's defined as the need for the patient to go back onto dialysis within the first 7 days post-transplantation. We also have a number of secondary outcomes, but included within that is the length of hospital stay, rejection rates, but also survival of both the patient and the kidney. So the sample size for this trial is up to 400 kidneys, and recruitment is over a 4-year period, and we started in February 2016. So how do statistical things feed into this? So we were originally involved in the sample size calculations, and for this trial it's quite interesting that we're using a sequential design. So basically what this means is that we're using accumulating trial data to decide when actually should we end the trial. So there are 2 planned interim analyses, and when we conduct those, we'll calculate the standardised Z statistic to see actually, have we already got enough evidence to prove that we should stop the trial because one is significantly better than the other, or actually because there is no difference between the 2. I've had to produce the randomisation list, so this is to decide which treatment should be allocated to in which order, and through doing this, we had to ensure that there was balance between the trial arms, but also make sure that there was, basically the sequence was unpredictable. And currently we're monitoring the randomisations to ensure that there is clinical equipoise and no surgeon starts, because it's an open trial, but no surgeon says, oh, let's actually do this, that they actually follow what they're supposed to be doing. So kind of just to summarise my career path and highlights so far. So I undertook A2 in mathematics, and also then I picked up AS further maths as well, and then I did a BSc in maths and statistics at the University of Bath. Within that, I did do an industrial placement year, which I think was a real pivotal point in which I decided what I wanted to do. And I conducted my placement year at NHS Blood and Transplant, which was a really successful year. So I went back to university, did my final year at Bath, and then I went on and did a master's in statistics with application at the University of Southampton. From there, I was lucky enough that NHS Blood and Transplant had another position available, so I went back there. I was an entry-level statistician for a year, and then gained a promotion to a statistician 2, and then last year I was promoted to a senior statistician. So what have been my highlights along the way? So when I was a student, I was lucky enough to go and watch a live living donor kidney transplant. And also, I volunteered at the Transplant Games, which is an event for transplant recipients to basically celebrate that they're alive and well. And it was kind of these 2 experiences which really put into context how important the work we do is. I also undertook a 1-year NIHR-funded project in collaboration with lecturers at the University of Southampton. And this actually led to a presentation at the YSS annual conference in 2013. In 2014, I helped organise the Young Statisticians meeting, which we held in Bristol. So earlier this year, I went and presented at the British Transplant Society annual congress, and also last year I went to a nephrology conference, and I think this was quite a real highlight, because actually I was presenting my work to clinicians, not just to other statisticians, and presenting my work actually out to people who I was working with. And also I've had several publications along the way in a variety of journals. So in conclusion, many interesting problems arise in connection with organ donation and transplantation, and also transfusion medicine. New developments in the field do lead to new statistical problems, and it's an area of application where statistics does actually help to save or improve quality of life. Not that we have any positions at the moment available, but when positions do come up, they're advertised on NHS Jobs and also via the All-Stat mailing list. So just have a look on there, and they're advertised on there. Thank you.